is reason. Ah. You can always tell who in stream is the noobs because they ask why I'm making retarded guttural animal screams at the beginning of the stream. The people who still behave like normal human beings and are like, why is he making weird noises, are the ones that are not part of the social group yet. Or people who just come to the stream late. It's a privilege that only the people who show up at stream on time get to truly experience. I don't understand anything. Speak French, please. Je t'aime, mon ami. Ho ho ho. That's all I can say. I can say je t'aime, and I can say do the stereotypical French laugh. Which really is all you need, you know. Let's be honest, most French people can probably speak English. They just don't want to admit the fact that they can speak English because that would be admitting defeat to their cultural relevance.
Can't you see I'm blazing? Still my heart is blazing. If the words kill me, I don't.
Une vu les linguistes français? Oui, une. Votre prononciation marque notre belle langue. Cringe. Okay, guys. I'll let you guys speak in your non-English languages, non-American languages for 20 seconds before I start banning your asses. Because that's all the respect the great country of America can give to any other non-American country. This is America, boys. You have to speak American. American isn't even a thing. That's not what our 5,000 nuclear weapons say. American is such a thing that our God Emperor President Trump has officially made American the language of America, along with changing the Gulf of Mexico into the Gulf of America. I liked how there was an entire New York Times article that was just like, Trump has officially declared English as the official language of America. And then they were like, will this have any effect? Probably not. I'm like, yeah, well, you think? You think that suddenly declaring that English is the official language of America is going to have an actual effect on how people speak? Your local, Venezuelan immigrant isn't choosing to speak Spanish out of choice. They're just, they don't know English yet. There is no such language as American. It's a dialect of English. That's what the English want to think. But I don't see them here on our American shores now, do I? Howdy. Recolonize America, to be honest. I think England needs to be worrying about having some amount of economic and cultural relevance after they self-segregated themselves from the EU before they can start worrying about regaining their fucking colonies. I mean, technically, Canada is still a British colony, right? They have to worship the Queen and stuff. But I don't really see England actually having any kind of effect on them. Colonizing other countries is so, like, 100 years ago at this point. Nowadays, instead of colonizing places, we just take all their natural resources and then leave. Just ask China and like every African country. I hope Trump buys Canada like he said he would, just because it's funny. Why would we have to buy Canada? Canada should be kowtowing and begging for us to take control of it. In all reality, I feel like Trump's current pace of fourth grade level American colonialist policy is probably going to run out in about, I don't know, 2 months. You can tell that every world leader is like just letting him just like, you know, shoot out his mouth. Like 90% of the things that Trump want, like, I don't know, Greenland or the Panama Canal, are stuff that America could get if they were actually willing to send troops and just like straight up occupy the area. But Trump isn't actually willing to do that, so it's kind of irrelevant, isn't it? Can't hear you, lower music volume. Yeah, you're right. Then why is the music volume up so high? Interesting. Oh, maybe what I need to do is just... I usually have the YouTube... Alright, let's have it so that YouTube is at max, but then the OBS is lower. How about that? Sometimes what happens is I usually listen to YouTube at like half sound when I'm watching it in my free time, and then like it gets like I forgot to. Sometimes I increase the sound because I can't hear shit, and then depending on the window, it stays like that. I don't know. Someone should do an art stream where they're just doing 80 different AI prompt generations. As much as we all love clowning on the AI prompters, I do think there is actually quite a few techniques that you can use. And it would be actually pretty interesting to see. It's not just like typing shit in. Because if it was just typing shit in, there wouldn't be such a large discrepancy in quality between some of the things that I see. Like, there's just those people who just type shit into, like, anime boob girl into stable diffusion, and they get that, you know, classic stable diffusion style that we got, the only style we got before people started using LoRa's and stuff like that. And I would say there's a pretty huge difference between those people and people who have, like, actually, you know, developed this style engine with, like, a bunch of different LoRa's and shit like that. So I know this is the last thing that people who actually tune into a drawing artist stream want to hear about, is me being like, oh, AI is so interesting. But I do think there's some difference in like skill levels. It's just that no matter how good you get at it, no one's actually ever going to respect you. BBC Genshin Impact Girl. Whenever I see a cock that is slightly lighter skin color in my AI porn, I'm like, holy shit. It's a white cock, guys. It's like finding a rare albino tiger in the wild. Something that would never exist. The white penis in AI art is like finding a white rhino. It's like a sign of the end times or some shit. Are you telling me that this man was generating AI porn and it's not just endless amounts of big black cocks? Why are you scared to draw? I'm not actually scared to draw. That was more of a thing where, you see this thing here, story. I was like, okay, I have to learn how to use the page manager shit. And in addition to learning page manager, I actually have to start thinking about proper page layout shit. So what's recommended is thinking in terms of one page, first page, and then like page spread 2. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. This is proper storyboarding. And then you usually want to have like one idea per each of the pages. Not actually, each of 2 page spreads. So that affects the way in which you tell your story as well. So I was like, okay, I have to actually start doing this if I want to go pro as a mangaka, in conjunction with me starting to use the page manager layout and stuff. And if you open this, you see you can use project illustration, webtoon, comic, printing, fanzine. What happened to the option of publisher? Interesting. Preset. Oh, here we go. Anyways, there's all these like printing options and shit that I have to fiddle with. So, okay, yeah, you go to comic settings, you go Shueisha manga. So, if I'm going to be sending shit to Shonen Jump, which I'm not, but say I am. See, now they give you like a whole fucking layout. Page 1. I think you can choose to display both pages. I'm not sure I want them to display both pages. Anyways, so I have to fiddle with all this shit. But it kind of it changes how you think about stuff in the way your story progression works. So yeah, that shit's both intimidating. Not just because like it's some like new software shit I have to fiddle with, but it's intimidating because it's like, what if I don't have the ability to like do the kind of story setup that I need to do, you know? It's it affects a lot of other stuff. So I was like, I'm gonna start doing this, and instead I spent the last like 2 days just reading manga, being like, what kind of manga paneling do I like? I've just been thinking about paneling for the last like 2 days, and the amount of dialogue and the number of panels I want on a single page, and how that affects how you read certain pages and shit. Streaming is counterintuitive to BB's art process. The social monkey part of his brain craves interaction while the artist part works best offline. I'm always best when I'm not around other people, no matter what I'm doing. You guys are just a detriment to my productivity. There's actually pretty few people who probably can actually multitask. This is especially bad for my father, who I have inherited a lot of genetic traits from. Because when he's driving the car and I'm in the passenger seat and we're having a conversation, what I've noticed is that he fucking turns his head away from the windshield, away from the road to like make eye contact with me. I'm just like, holy shit, Dad, stop fucking doing that. To the point that I don't even let him drive anymore. This obviously makes him a bad driver. He's so much of like a people pleaser, like he wants to socialize and properly have eye contact with you, that he can't fucking drive properly. I'm just a burden to Bibi-sama. You all are. It's like that time when my mother told me about how she could have been a ballerina if she didn't get pregnant with me. Zero men can multitask, our brains just can't. I'm pretty sure that all these women that claim that women's brains are better suited to multitasking, like 70% of them are just bullshitting as well. I think most people can't multitask. Whether there's a higher percentage of women being able to multitask than men is like up for debate. I'm sure there's studies that show this. But my general opinion is that most people can't multitask, and people who think that they can multitask are just like doing shit poorly and running over kids on the road and being like, no, I can definitely do my makeup and talk on my phone and drive at the same time, guys. I'm definitely not going to cause any kind of serious accidents. Don't be silly. I can watch Seba stream and eat noodles at the same time. Yeah, but you can't do like any kind of higher thinking. Okay, if you're so great at multitasking, try playing StarCraft 2 with 300 APM with both hands while you use your automatic own a hole and a second screen to use VR masturbation techniques while also having your AI robot feed you a hot dog. Artosis is on right now. I haven't seen an Artosis stream in years. Texting and driving is a stupid use of multitasking ability. Why does anyone want to answer their text? Surely my superior female multitasking ability will allow me to look away from the fucking windshield and like type something on my fucking phone for 30 seconds while I drive down a residential street at 60 miles per hour in a school zone. Nothing bad will happen, guys. Trust me. Just buy a Tesla and let it drive. Exactly. Elon has solved this problem, guys. Surely nothing bad will happen with our Tesla auto driving technology. That Tesla is definitely recognizing those kids. I actually used to play Hearthstone and write my essays at the same time back in high school. I think you can do a lot of stuff with turn-based shit. I don't know how much like flowchart Hearthstone becomes when you have your deck actually like figured out, but some people like take a solid like, you know, a minute and a half trying to think of their next move when they're playing like MTG Arena and shit like that. I've seen that, so I don't think that's that impossible. driving debuff in exchange for higher life expectancy. I've never really bought the whole like women are bad drivers thing as well. I think there's just so many shitty drivers in America in general that like the whole like women are worse than men is kind of a minimal difference. I've seen way more regional difference in poor driving habits in America, and in way more than that, I've seen like there's huge differences in driving habits between Japanese drivers and American drivers. Like most American drivers could not drive in Japan. The streets are super thin. You have to be way more aware of your car's spacing in Japan, and you also have to be way more aware of like different pedestrians and bicycles and like little shit going on all the time in ways that you don't have to be in America. And just combined with that, Japanese drivers are just way more cautious and well thought out in how they behave. Like when I'm jogging in America, I have to constantly think about like, is that car gonna try and make a left turn and like cut me off and run me over on the sidewalk? And when I'm jogging in Japan, like it's always freaky how the drivers are always aware of me. I'm just like, holy shit. And I don't even live in a particularly bad place in America, I think. There are some cities where like the drivers are just legendarily bad, like Miami and stuff. The only terrible driver I ever met was my uncle. He would actually go twice the speed limit. Are you guys living in Texas? That sounds like Texas energy. Jogging is scary in Texas because the fucking pickup trucks are taller than I am. And also everybody is like used to driving at literally 100 miles per hour in Texas because they want to get from one city to another city at absolute maximum speed. They're just like, surely I'm allowed to, you know, drive at 100 miles per hour in a residential street. $80 miles per hour speed limit highways in Texas, which means you can go at a 100. That's basically how it works out. Do you think Seiba is as iconic in Japan like Mr. Beast is to America? That's like the cringiest concept I could think about. Guys, please don't tell me Mr. Beast is an iconic figure at this point. It's painful enough that his stupid fucking face gets plastered on shit when I go to my local grocery store and, you know, they're like, Mr. Beast is selling his candy bar. To the Zoomers he is. Zoomers aren't people, guys. Don't worry. They don't count. Mr. Beast gives me some creepy vibes and his popularity is entirely astroturfed. Mr. Beast is like a living example that we're living in the cyberpunk dystopia already. Like, how many cyberpunk dystopia sci-fi settings have like some sort of crazy game show where they abuse the contestants? They're like, win some free healthcare and an apartment by cutting your dick off on stream. And everyone's like, oh, this is great. Thank you, Mr. Beast. Like, we're actually into cyberpunk dystopia at this point. We really are. I'm a Zoomer and I take great offense to that claim. I'll allow you to be considered a real human being if you don't watch any Mr. Beast. I tried to watch a single Mr. Beast TV episode, or whatever you would call it, on YouTube, and it was too fucking painful. So when there was a huge reveal where they were like, actually, this is gonna shock you, but Mr. Beast is a bad person, I was like, oh no! Really? How could that be? Not my hero. Not the guy who claims to offer millions of dollars. Can Elon put my brain in a prosthetic body that looks like Motoko Kusanagi? No. First you have to subscribe to Elon's, what was it called? Neuralink shit. And then he will use that to experiment on your body and it will go horribly wrong. And you will be trapped inside the AI programming unit of Twitter forever. He'll use you as the Tesla AI navigating system. Man, just talking with you guys is giving me all these great new ideas for cyberpunk plot lines. Elon's like, why is our Tesla, why are they so behind schedule? I know, we just need to trap local people's souls inside the machine. Their job will be to assist Uber drivers forever. They'll never be allowed to die. BB-sama, do you play FGO? No, I will never play any form of gacha ever. Ever. It's never gonna happen. The moment I see the screen where they're like, oh, do you want to keep on playing this game? Well, you have to start gambling. I'm like, nope. We're done playing. Goodbye. BB plays Blue Archive. If by play you mean download many gigs of Blue Archive porn of Blue Archive girls in bunny suits with giant big black cocks in their face and then masturbate, then yes, I do play Blue Archive. How did you know? I like the Blue Archive girl with big fat tits. How much porn do you have? I don't know. The amount of gigs of porn I have has increased rapidly after I started downloading AI stuff, because it used to be like you would find one CG set that was hand-drawn that was good enough for jacking off, and it would be like 10 images, but now you can find like a good AI producer and they can have jack-off worthy AI images and they'll produce like 100 images a day, so it's rapidly absorbing space on my hard drive, but who knows. Liking Blue Archive girls with big boobs kind of goes against the point of the game. That's the dumbest opinion I've heard in a long time. Are you actually saying that Blue Archive is a flat tit only game and that people are who like the big titty girls in Blue Archive are betraying the primary point of Blue Archive when their poster girls have like massive fat huge giga tits? You jack off to still images. I'm a still image guy. I will always be a still image guy. I don't like video. If I like moving images so much, I would be motivated to become an animator or something. Not a mangaka, but I like my images still. There is movement in still images. You guys wouldn't understand. You can't see the world that I'm seeing. You're not enlightened like I am. Blue Archive is catered to the uo crowd, I feel like. You need the gigatits to get people through the door, then you hit them with the mesugakis before they can react. Westerners still don't like it. No, you're wrong. The number one Blue Archive girl you see is this thing. This massive giga tit cow. I'm sure if you actually did like a scientific study of all the dojins, she would have the most dojins. Inferior Toki. I hate Asuna, I hate Asuna, I hate Asuna, I hate Asuna, I hate Asuna. One eye is hidden, I'm gonna coom. I can't believe people have so much, like, actual strong opinions about this one fucking gacha. I know it has more dojins at Komiket than Toho at this point, but like, she is too smug. The smugness makes her losing to the penis even more prominent. Not even Mai Shiranui has as much porn as her. Unfortunately, the period in which our primary form of porn being fighting game girls is a long time in the past. I want to go back, but we can't. It's a real shame. I wish people were still making porn for fighting games, but it really isn't. I mean, I guess it's expected considering the cultural relevance of gacha at this point versus the number of fighting game players, because, you know, fighting games are actual video games that require you to be good at something instead of just gambling away your entire fucking paycheck. But do you have much physical porn? No, I keep it mostly digital. I have some physical porn, but not much. Sorry, Mai, but it's time to go the way of tuners. Time to get old and saggy. You will eventually be rewired to have one wrinkle that makes you age 25 years. Except tuners is not old and saggy at all, if you haven't noticed. They keep on, like, jumping to different timelines in Street Fighter, but the one thing they haven't done is actually age the women. Or the men, actually. The most we got was Hobo Ken. But that was just him not shaving. Sakura has aged? Yeah, she aged from 16 to 20. What nobody has aged from is fuckable to unfuckable. That's like the number one taboo in any kind of anime, is make a fuckable woman unfuckable, even for 1 second. I remember there was the scene in Naruto where Tsunade has used up all her chakra reserves, so she went into being like an actual wrinkly hag, And Kishimoto, I don't know if it was Kishimoto or the editor, made the very well thought out decision to only show her hand and the wrinkles on her hand and not actually show her as an old person. Because even if she was going back to being young and hot, they didn't want people to see her as like an actual old woman, an unfuckable old woman for even 1 second. That is the ultimate taboo. So considering how absolutely avoided that unfuckableness taboo is in Japanese society and anything really where you want men to buy your product, the fact that Western video games have had unfuckable women for the last 10 years is pretty impressive. Traumatized by Oba-chan? Yes. The horror of watching a woman that you want to have sex with go through menopause and get like 5 wrinkles. It's too much for our souls to bear. It's like looking into the depths of eldritch horror, you know? We're like, no! A woman has hit 35. The horror! We just have to tear our eyes out. Instead, you get fat Anko. Enjoy your slam pig. Yeah, apparently nobody, the editor didn't jump in front of that one. It's particularly interesting because Anko was like a fan favorite for people who want to masturbate for quite a while. My general opinion is that any kind of smart decision in Naruto was basically done by the editors, especially when it comes to female characters, because it's pretty obvious that Kishimoto doesn't really care about the female characters and people who want to masturbate to Naruto girls. He really cares about the homo lust between Naruto and Sasuke, so... We're really going hard into the VHS aesthetic now, aren't we, on YouTube? Useless Sakura. It's pretty funny how medics are completely useless in most manga and whatever heal sluts, because we just assume that people aren't gonna die, when in reality, like, you would just like get some sort of really weak infection and then just die from the bacteria, and medics would be super fucking important. But we're so used to people just like not dying in manga. It's just like the assumption in shonen manga is if you beat the enemy, even if like literally every bone in your body has broken and all of your organs have been like torn out of your body, you're like, I did it, guys, and you'll just be okay. Unless you're like coughing blood out of your mouth and then you start being like, ugh, I'm not gonna make it, Naruto-kun. You have to inherit the will of fire and protect the Hidden Leaf Village, and you must become Hokage Datebayo. No, sensei, please don't die. But unless that happens, you know. Baki level injuries are not a problem. Character deaths are the exception, not, you know, normalcy. Because if you actually start killing characters at a rate that, you know, which you have to start replacing them, then your series is gonna fucking end, because you can't just think of new characters every single day, so... Any actual anime manga Oba-chan you would fuck? You mean actually old? No. Because I like women who are not going through menopause. Because that's the point of sex. We are genetically designed to want to have sex with women between the ages of post-puberty and menopause. And all the people who are like, huh, I love hag maxing, are either defining hag incorrectly because what they mean is like a 32-year-old, or they're just virtue signaling. They're probably the same people who are like, what? You want to have sex with that 18-year-old fucking child? Shame on you. Whether socially it's a good idea or not to have sex with teenagers is one issue, but people are definitely designed to want to have sex with them physically. And I think it's pretty stupid how much people do this virtue signaling shit on internet, being like, he wants to have sex with that anime character who's officially in high school. Oh my god! How can this be? Most of the grandmas people want are just women in their late 30s to early 40s. It takes grit to fuck a real grandma. A lot of times when you actually hear about people having sex with grandmothers in like real life, it's like some person who like raped a 80-year-old woman because he has like severe mental issues and shit like that. Adult women were coming over Justin Bieber, never forget. And look how that had no negative effect on his life, guys. It was totally fine. Chris Chan and Barbara, yes, Chris Chan has issues. Let's try and not be like him. Do not model your life after Chris Chan, no matter how good it looks like he's making it. Are you telling me not to have children when I'm 55? I don't know. Maybe there's some sort of medical developments that make it okay, but it doesn't help that I have autism and my mother had me when she was like, what, 38 or close to 40, I think? Let me think. Yeah, close to 40. If she didn't want to have an autistic spurg, maybe she shouldn't have had fucked around all throughout her 20s and 30s and having fun doing stupid feminist shit. Maybe she should have had a kid at an earlier age so I wouldn't have autism. Wasn't there some ancient actor who had a kid recently? I want to say it was De Niro. I think it was Pacino instead of De Niro, but I can't remember. Nor do I really care. I think guys also have risks having kids when they're older because your semen tends to mutate, but it's probably not as high as the eggs and stuff. Because, like, if you think about the size of shit, the egg is, like, 50 times larger than the sperm, so, like, most of the child's health is probably dependent on the fucking, the women's egg quality. And then the sperm is just, like, genetic information. So if you have, like, genetic problems that are just like inherited, that might be a thing, but I feel like the actual health of a kid is way more important in terms of like having a healthy young female. But Vogue doesn't want you to say this because they want to be like, no, 40 is the new 20, guys. Old eggs create birth defects, old sperm creates autism. Always remember, that can't be true. Robert Kennedy Jr., my hero, said that the vax was what was giving me autism. I think the whole anti-vaxxer movement came from all these parents with autistic spurg children who don't want to admit that they either have like defective DNA or like genetic tendencies to create autism, or they had kids too late. So they're like, no, it has to be it's got to be the vaccine, guys. It's not my fucking fault. Intend to have autistic child, so vax maxing him. How many vax shots do I need to ensure that my child has autism, guys? My aunt is an anti-vax nurse. God save us all. Do you know if anti-vaxxing is a thing in Europe, guys? Or is it way more of just like an American thing? I can't figure out what I want to do with the saber arms here. That's why a kid in Texas died of the measles recently. He was too weak. It's just Darwinism. Yeah, but parents do be like that nowadays. The idea that having kids as early as your 30s could give them some serious issues scares me. I feel like I won't be ready for another like 10 years. Financially, people aren't ready for it ever, unfortunately. You just need to have to not worry too much and just start having kids at like 28. And you probably shouldn't wait any longer than that if you want to have more than one. Nice try, Shinzo Abe. Honestly, we should have fewer people on this planet, so I'm okay with declining birth rates. I feel like when the population gets to like critically low levels, people will just start having more kids. Maybe if life quality was better, we'd have more kids. No, that's not how it works. Everybody who's like, no, people aren't having kids because we don't have enough money, blah, 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 is completely ignoring the fact that people with way, 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 way shittier lives than you in Africa and India and Bangladesh and everywhere, where they're cursing their children into a life of literal slavery working in the Nike factory, have like 10 kids. People are not properly thinking about this shit. That's all just cope, being like, no, no, I'm not having kids because I care about their future. That's just shit people tell themselves. The truth is that people don't have kids because life has become extremely comfortable, and they can find a lot more joy without children. It's entirely selfish reasons. I know because I don't have kids for entirely selfish reasons. Because I don't want a bunch of screaming shitheads getting in the way of my daily masturbation routine. Not everyone is as bad as I am, but they're coming from the same place. The whole like, oh, I'm not having kids because I want them to have a better life than me, and they can't because rent is too high. That stuff is bullshit. People don't actually think in that way. Having a child is selfish, though. Yeah, so in the past, people had children for different selfish reasons. They had children because they were going to use the children as their workforce, so it was always a selfish reason. Children are unwanted a lot of the time. You just learn to love them, assuming you ever do. That's part of the problem. I think there's a high chance that, like, me being like, oh, I'm sure I'll love my kids after a while is bullshit. I probably won't love them because I'm incredibly self-centered, a selfish piece of shit. So, assuming that, and that's fine if you're just on your own, right? I don't get in other people's way, but if I have to take care of a kid and I'm on a similar level of like personal selfishness, that could be a problem long term. Nurses literally have to take newborns away from new mothers so they don't strangle them. Life is a fuck. It's pretty hilarious when I see like Republican mama bear types be like, as a mother, I just naturally love my children. That type of shit. Even the term mama bear is fucking hilarious considering like grizzly bears eat their own young and shit. Anybody who's like you just naturally learn to love your children is so full of shit. Animal mothers eat their children constantly. I especially like I can't remember which animal it was. I think it was like a crab or something. There's just like video footage of the crab just like snacking on its own babies like they're fucking potato chips. It's just like it's not even like they desperately need to eat because they're gonna die from lack of protein or something. They're just like, oh, look at that one, munch, 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 delicious. My own children, tastes good. I'm sure only the male bears eat their young. No, mother bears eat their young. Male bears like kill the young of the mother so they can rape the mother and then like you know have her give birth to more of their seed, so the children are in the way, so they just kill the children. But mother bears also eat their own young when they're feeling like it. Snack maxing, I know, right? How am I supposed to lose weight when there's so many delicious children around me? The truth is, children just aren't that valuable. There's all this like media that are like children are the future. They're the most valuable thing on this planet. It's like actually they're not because they haven't actually received all of like the training and time and stuff that starts to make people develop like skills and shit. Like what makes people valuable is the time that we've spent on this earth that allows us to become productive individuals. So if we haven't learned shit, children aren't valuable at all. Same thing for old people who are no longer capable of being productive. It doesn't always just happen if the mother is hungry either. Mammalians will intentionally kill some babies if there are too many to care for. Yeah. There's all this, like, footage of just a shit ton of different animals just doing stuff like, you know, baby storks getting kicked out of a nest. It's particularly funny when there's, like, the other chicks that are watching one of their siblings, the mother just be like, yeah, I'm just gonna drop you out of the fucking nest. And then the babies are like, well, what the fuck just happened? Did my mother just literally kill one of my brothers? And it's like, yeah, she did. Children aren't valuable, it's the potential they have. Yes. One of my coworkers had a kid and the bill for everything was 200,000 without insurance. Shit is beyond parody at this point. Hopefully you don't live in America, I guess. I think the strategy here is to just not pay the medical bill and be like, try and collect from me, bitch. I have a gun. I think that solves a lot of problems. Just be like, I'm not gonna pay my medical debt. I don't care. What are you gonna do? I think you can do that for like a lot of different types of debt. Because like credit cards still allow you to make new credit cards, even if you're like 10 cards deep in debt and shit like that. So I'm still baffled you guys in America have no health insurance. Uh, America is a country where you get health insurance from your job. Or at least it used to be. Now I'm not even sure if that's real as well. And you know what people who are seriously sick don't have? Jobs. It's one of the dumbest fucking systems that ever was put in place. But yeah. Communism really sort of mind fucked Americans in ways that's hard to understand if you're in a European country. We're just like, oh, is that a social program? Oh, I think that's communism, guys. Or at least all the corporations have tried to make it that way. If you actually touch the old fucks social security programs like, you know, Social Security and Medicare and shit like that, they will be very, very angry. Which is why Trump and Elon, while they're talking about how they're going to cut all these unneeded government programs, have been very, very open and adamant about saying that they're never ever going to touch Social Security and Medicare because they have to rely on all these old fuckers to vote for them. So Americans try to cope by saying you have wait times, but most Americans who need to go to get checkups for shit usually just don't go at all. LMAO. Most Americans, instead of having insurance, just go to the emergency room where they can't be refused, and then pass the bill down onto people who also have insurance. And then the emergency room always has like a massive wait line. You can get stuck in the emergency room for like 10 hours at a time in America. Where it's like, oh, you're not going to die immediately, so just sit there. So, unlike you guys, I have the special ability to escape to Japan, where they still have a somewhat functional social systems, although uh, those are also endangered because it's full of old people who are overusing healthcare and shit as well. So it's not really perfect, but yeah, that's my plan: is to escape America. Always has been. But my mother refuses to retire, so I guess I could go to Japan right now if I really wanted to. But I don't think I have serious health issues yet. If once I do have health issues, that might be like an actual thing I do is just go to Japan. Just make the old people walk up to Mount Fuji, their last contribution to society. You make it sound like Mount Fuji is like the fucking death mountain where there's nobody else and people go to die, but just like every other tourist location in Japan, the old people wouldn't be going alone to their deaths. They'd just be getting in the way of the 18 billion tourists that are just like getting in the way already. Pretty much every location you've heard of in Japan, whether it's Mount Fuji or like some famous shrine or something, is currently full of 10 million Chinese tourists. So you can't just send your old people there to die anymore. See you around. Man, I'm not making much progress thanks to you guys. I just want to draw a Seiba, but I can't focus. It really is pretty dramatic, a huge dramatic difference when I'm off stream and just sort of like properly focused and just drawing shit. How quickly stuff gets done compared to when I am on stream. Damn it, I'm hungry. Mom, where's my food? I want food. Where's my tendies? I haven't had chicken tendies in a while. I should go to McDonald's tomorrow. What's your guys' favorite chicken McNugget sauce? Barbecue was always the sauce of my childhood, so I still get like at least barbecue. But I think I'm becoming more of a ranch guy. I also tried like literal honey. I didn't know they had like actual honey at McDonald's. You get like a pretty small container of honey, but it's like actual honey. It doesn't say like honey flavored corn syrup, which is what I thought it would be. It's just like ingredients honey. So I'm like, wow, they actually give you like real honey. Interesting. One day, BB's mom will burst into the room and start screaming at BB live for all of us to watch. Well, that's why I'm not putting up a face cam, obviously. Honey mustard or honey barbecue? I don't want honey mustard on my chicken. I'm going to be honest. I'm a big fan of yellow mustard, but I only use it on stuff like pastrami sandwiches or like lunch meats or hot dogs, and I don't ever really use honey mustard. I like mustard a lot, and I think it's an extremely important condiment because some things, like especially sausages and stuff, they don't taste correct without mustard. However, I feel like it's something that is very limited in its uses. I'd actually rank yellow mustard as an S rank condiment, but it can only be used in some situations, I feel. Oh, you watch any Toku stuff? I used to watch Godzilla in my childhood and the Japanese Power Ranger types, Sentai stuff. It's interesting because the time in which I was a elementary school child and I went to Japan for the first time was also the same time in which a lot of the foundational media that became like the canon stuff of Japanese culture in America first was running in Japan. So when I went to Japan, I ended up. That was exactly when Jurenja, which is the original Power Rangers footage people, was running, and then a few years later, Pokemon. I was also in Japan for Pokemon, so I had Pokemon Green, not Red and Blue. You had Red and Green for the first generation Pokemon. A lot of shit like that happened in terms of timing for me. So I consumed a lot of these like very important media things in American culture in their Japanese format like a few years earlier than everybody in America when they got it. Was anime a driving force for you to be an artist? Were you already good at drawing when you got into anime? I never really got into anime, to be honest. I think the most I was into anime was like in 2010 when it was part of like this whole internet Nico Nico Doga culture type stuff. Kikaida is big with the boomer population around me. OG Kikaida was I don't know 20 years before my time. Obviously, it's had a bunch of remakes. Are you a filthy Gen 1er or did you play the later games too? I'm a filthy Gen 1er through and through. I didn't even play Silver and Gold because my mommy never bought them for me. I think I'm encountering the thing on stream where I'm like, I can't draw this on stream. This is when I was working on the manga. I would make sure that I would have the line work and composition done, and then I could just like color in between the lines and stuff. So because I don't have any of that done right now, I am in a impasse. So I'm gonna end the stream here because I can't make any real progress right now, and I'm gonna go eat some shit. Also, I might not be streaming for a while because I need to start doing the storyboards of the next chapter and stuff, which is stuff that I definitely cannot do on stream in any sort of capacity. So I'm going to be entering like serious artist mode soon. I might be doing some stuff on stream, but expect to have like fewer streams coming forward. Yeah, it turns out that streaming is not productive for me, so I can't really do it. Good night, guys. See you around. Bye.